All right. Well, hello, everyone, and good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for our Healing Power of Peptides Zoom talk. It is so good to see you all here, and I'm very excited for this opportunity for us to have this conversation. I'm Dr. Tatiana Habanova. I'm a board certified chiropractic neurologist, and I am very excited about peptides because personally, as well as professionally, I end up kind of hitting a wall a little bit on my own personal healing journey, as well as I assist and support my patients' healing journeys. So before we dive into any of that in a little deeper, let me first and foremost say, well, let's talk about what is a peptide? Because I know all of you come to this talk this evening because you're interested in peptides. Maybe you're just peptide curious. Maybe this is all new. There's a lot of talk on the internet and social media platforms about peptides, a variety of different ones. And what does it all mean? What are they? And all that good stuff we're going to talk about. So let's just get everyone on the same page and let's first define what is actually a peptide. We actually all already are making peptides in our body. So this isn't anything new or unique to our own physiology. We have been making peptides from the moment we were born. Well, actually, even prior to that, the minute we were conceived, I guess, you can technically say we've been making peptides. But what are peptides? Peptides are just a string of amino acids. They're usually short chain strings of amino acids. So for example, like I've got a pearl necklace on here. So if you think of each little pearl as an amino acid, we string those amino acids together to make a little peptide chain. And that's what they are. They're just these little short chains of amino acids. And what they do in the body is they basically are signaling molecules. So these little short chain amino acids, these little strings of peptides, they can be as small as like 2 amino acids, believe it or not, to about 50. Okay, so they're pretty small. And they're going to go around the body and do a variety of functions. For example, we're all familiar with insulin. Yes, we've heard about insulin and how important insulin is. Well, insulin is a peptide. Happens to be important in, glucose regulation, metabolism, and things like that on that side. We probably also have heard of oxytocin, right? The bonding molecule, right? Well, that's a peptide as well. So there's a couple of examples of things that we're already accustomed to and our body's used to, and it's natural and part of our physiology. And so I got interested in peptides because I hit a wall in my personal journey in menopause in terms of the chaos that it has brought into my world and all the things that I've tried to do to overcome the challenges of that wonderful journey that we have to transition as women through. I personally just hit a wall. And I just felt the things that I was doing, I know the proper exercise to do, I know the way to eat and the sleep and all the things. Yeah, all the things that used to work aren't working anymore. And I just honestly really got super frustrated and kind of despaired to some degree as well. So I did some research and started digging in deep, and peptides kind of came on my radar. And as I dove in deeper and got more research and started learning and understanding them, I'm a molecular biologist as my undergrad degree. So I'm very familiar with the power of signaling molecules. And as I got to understand that, I did the research, I started to implement them with my patients as well and started to see some positive benefits for myself and for them. So I finally feel like I'm able to move the needle forward again, not only in my own journey, but for them as well. So that's kind of how I got involved with it. But before we go any further with answering more questions and things, I would love to just introduce our other guests that are here this evening, or my hosts on the Zoom call. And Freddie, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about you, your background, what you do professionally, and also how you got involved with peptides.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I'm a little closer. Good. Okay. Some of my clients are already here with me. They already know me, thankfully. And but for the ones that don't know me, my name is Freddie Vega, and I'm a functional movement specialist. We got a new one. Okay. And so, can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay. Good. I lost my screen for a second. And so I got into peptides because I actually was introduced to them by Tatiana, and I was actually healing from a surgery in my back. And so I wanted to try and see if, we have to heal the back, which you did. But one of the things that I didn't notice is how my joints and ligaments, my tendons start to feel a little better, because I just keep feeling the sensation of this, it's so hard to explain, like this tightness and pulling on it, not only when I worked out, but after. It was only constant. And, I didn't really, I noticed it, but I wasn't really kind of on it. But after I started taking the peptides, I did notice that I started feeling better, better, better. And then, now my recovery work is much, much better. My scar on my back, my wound on my back is like completely gone and hardly visible. So I think that this therapy has actually been helping me quite a bit. So I am glad that I was introduced to them when I didn't. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yes.
So I'm going to just recap a little bit because I know some of the participants had a hard time hearing you a little bit. Maybe just the internet connection might not be as strong for where you're at. So what Freddie was
Oh, yeah.
sharing with him professionally is that twofold. He had a back surgery that he recently underwent, and he wanted to begin using the peptides to help him recover faster from that surgical procedure. For him, it's really important that he doesn't have a lot of downtime. He's got to be, busy doing the things he needs to do with his clients. He is a professional functional movement specialist. And so, downtime is not a good idea. None of us really want to have downtime when we have surgery, right? We want to get right back to our lives and be vibrant. And the other part he mentioned was that just overall, he was feeling some musculoskeletal issues like tightness in his tendons and ligaments that weren't super bothersome, but he noticed them, and again, didn't want to have to feel that again, just kind of reducing his level of vitality and sort of sense of stamina and strength. So since starting the peptides, and Freddie, do you want to share which peptide you're taking or which ones you're
Um,
taking? What's your peptide stack?
BPC, is it BPC 571? Is it
So BPC 157 with TB 500, which we'll go into.
157? I was
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more because that's a
BPC
really important one. And are you taking anything else?
in the copper.
The
Uh,
GHK with copper. Yeah,
that is correct. Yes, that's it.
perfect. So two
Yes.
wonderful peptides for recovery, tissue healing, and benefits like that. So thank you, Freddie. I really appreciate you sharing that. Tatiana, would you like to join us in our conversation this evening? Share a little bit about what you do professionally and how you started taking peptides and your experiences with them so far.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tatiana Habanova, and I am European skincare esthetician. I have my own skin studio under the name Looks by Tatiana for over 30 years and working with clients to improve their skin. I heard the elliemd offering peptides for a skincare product. So I started searching and researching, and I find out that they do have a kind of moisturizer. So I ordered it and I started using it. Approximately about 10 days, I got all movement, oha, oha movements in front of the mirror because the lines was much more less and the bags under the eyes disappeared and the skin was more rejuvenated and more hydrated. So that was a good choice to order and start using it, this product. My second problem or concern is inflammation. I deal with the inflammation for many years and never get nowhere. So the peptides becoming be my solution, and we ordered the peptides. And on my third micro injection, I guess, I start noticing that I woke up with the energy. I woke much more faster paced. I have a much more clearer thinking and making sentences faster. No downhill afternoon, sluggish, sleepy, nagging. But the most important thing was for me that when I woke up morning, my inflammation in the hands, the stiffness, the swelling come down. So rings go back into my finger again. And it's really important to me because I need my hands for my clients, plus for my personal journey every day. So really positive result I got. And since the peptides are the present and the future to stay, we are really grateful to have the peptides for us to use it. So thank you for listening.
Well, thank you so much. And for those who don't know, that's my mom, actually. So that's my mom, Tatiana Habanova, and she is very humble. She is a quite established skincare esthetician, actually, and she does miraculous work. And she is very invested in her products. I know. And so I trust her judgment and opinion when it comes to the various ingredients. I know also her history, as both of us are a little bit chemical sensitive. So it has to be very clean. It can't be full of, chemicals and things that can be irritants. So I'm grateful that she's had the opportunity to experience some of the peptides in the skincare product and to have her, vetted expertise on the value behind them. Thank you, Mom. Last, I'd like to introduce Blair. She is an amazing woman that I've had the privilege of getting to know so much more. She is such an inspiration to so many. And I know she's got a very powerful story, so I'm not going to share any of that. I'm going to want her to do that because she does such a beautiful job. And Blair, why don't you share a little bit about who you are? I know your story is very powerful, and I'd love to learn more about how you got involved with peptides and your experiences so far as well.
Sure, thank you. Well, these have been incredible so far. And for those of you that are wondering which peptides are on, I typed it in the chat so you guys could see as well. But my story started back in 2021, 2020 during COVID. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer and had to go through 6 rounds of chemotherapy and have a hysterectomy and lost my hair.
Testing, one, two,
Oh,
three.
sorry
Oh,
there,
sorry.
Elian. That's okay. Welcome. And so during that cancer journey, what happened for me was I felt really horrible that first round of chemo and was up all night sick. And so I started working with a functional doctor the next day, and I changed a lot of things. I had been researching about how going plant-based could help, how involving different herbs and supplements could help. And also, my functional doctor had me start with acupuncture and infrared and sauna and a lot of other modalities. And what I realized was the next round of chemo, I didn't get sick at all. I actually felt really good. I mean, besides the fact that I was bald and tired for those few months, I actually felt really good and my skin was glowing. And people were like, Blair, you've actually never looked better. And so that really started me down this journey of learning more about integrative medicine, holistic health, preventative health as well, because ovarian cancer has a very high risk of returning. And so I wanted to learn about these things. And as I went down these rabbit holes and learned more and started researching, peptides kept popping up a lot. And I went to my oncologist and said, I want to start peptides. And he said, just give me a few months. I need a baseline. So at about 8 months post cancer, I gained 30 pounds during that 8 months, starting in menopause. I didn't change anything. Actually, I was taking better care of myself than I ever had. I was eating right. I was counting my macros. I was exercising, taking care of my lymphatic system and my nervous system more than most average people. And I still puffed up 30 pounds. And I really think a lot of that was inflammation. A lot of that was probably from all the steroids I had been on during chemo. And I felt horrible. And the women on here might understand this, but I had every sign of menopause. Usually people have like two or three. I had everything like hip pain, itchy skin, itchy ears, irritability, anxiety, which I've never had in my life before. My hair was growing back beautiful, but it was thinning on the front, 20 hot flashes a day, not sleeping at night. It was crazy. And so when I went in for my 8 month checkup, my doctor said, you have high cholesterol. I need to put you on a statin. And I said, hold on. You have me on this estrogen blocker that I have to be on after cancer, and that side effect is high cholesterol. Now you're going to put me on something else. What's that side effect? And my oncologist looked at me and he goes, yeah, it's kind of like the never-ending train. And I was like, well, I'm going to try these peptides first. And he goes, oh, yeah, I forgot you asked me about that. Try it. So sure enough, 6 months after starting, well, I'll tell you first, I started with two first that were NAD and glutathione. NAD is cellular regeneration, anti-aging. It is phenomenal for mood, energy, and mental clarity. And what I noticed right away was the energy. I noticed that the anxiety and irritability went away. By the third injection, I would say 90% of my menopause symptoms were gone. I also was doing glutathione on the same at the same time, and glutathione is a master antioxidant. It helps your body to detox. It helps your body to get rid of free radicals, which we all know. And if you don't, free radicals are are a big reason why people can sometimes get cancer and a lot of other diseases. And it also allows your body to actually absorb vitamin C from the foods that you're eating and boosts your antioxidants. It also helps with hair, skin, and nails. So it's just a little side extra benefit. And so by that third injection of both of those, I was sold. I couldn't believe how great I felt and how great I was looking. And by the end of that first month, it was incredible. So I said, okay, what's next? I trust you. And that's when my functional doctor said, we're going to start you on a GLP-1. And I'll be honest, at that time, there was a lot of stuff out there in 2022 about this. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to go down that journey. But she had proved me right already. And I said, I'm going to trust you and let's see what happens. 6 months later, I dropped 33 pounds. I say of inflammation because I swear that's what it was. But the best part was my blood work. I got to see my cholesterol go down. I got to see my A1C get better. My thyroid, my liver enzymes were a mess after chemo. It got back to regular. My kidney health got better. And my cancer marker, which was 168 when I had cancer, 20 to 25 after chemo, went down to 7 or 8 and has remained at 7 or 8 since 2022, which is really incredible. Honestly, I just got my report back. I get this done every 6 months. My oncologist called me for the first time in 2 years to leave me the message that, Blair, your number is 7 and you are just so incredible to me. Next time you come in, instead of meeting with the PA, I'd like you to ask to meet with me. I want to hear what you're doing. And so I know that what we have here is something special. And so I've been able to really utilize peptides over the last couple of years to fix different things that are going on. BPC 157, TB 500 that Freddie mentioned. I used that when I kind of tweaked my back last year a little bit from lifting a little too heavy. And it was amazing how after being on it for 30 days, it was completely healed. My husband as well, who has major back issues, inflammation in his spine. We tried everything. I mean, we went everywhere except we were like, we're not doing surgery because we've heard such horrible things. So we tried everything else. And last resort, he was like, maybe those peptides you take would help me. And sure enough, after 6 weeks of being on it, he started running again and playing golf again. And now he's back to playing golf 3 days a week, lifting 4 days a week, and running 2 days a week. And he'll tell you he got his life back. Because as you know, when people are athletes their whole life and then they have to stop, it's really hard on them. So I love these peptides. I always tell people, it's important where you get your peptides. It's important as a cancer survivor that I always say that because you can find peptides anywhere on the internet these days. There's some gray market, black market research grade ones, and you have to be really careful because they are not purified, which means they could have heavy metals and you would be injecting yourself with heavy metals, which can cause cancer. So it's really important that you find a credible, good, high quality place. And that's what Dr. Tatiana and I both found with elliemd. And that's why last August, when I was introduced to elliemd, I switched over and started utilizing their peptides and being able to share it with others so that they could find a high efficacy, good quality from wherever they lived in the United States. So I will say this, if you guys are interested in any of these, get back with whoever here invited you. I'm sure Dr. Tatiana will tell you that too, but they can point you in the direction of what's best. But go to the website that they'll give you for elliemd, because for every single product that we have, we go through the benefits of it, the scientific journals, and frequently asked questions. And there's so much information there. And you might even read about one and go, oh, I didn't even realize like this would help with something that I have going on right now. And you might want to get it. And then what happens from there is it's a telehealth company. So you pick the product you want, you put it in your cart, and then you have to fill out a telehealth form for the doctor. And it's either a MD or a DO, and they decide if you're approved or denied based on your medical information and what you told them. And then it goes to the compound pharmacy, which is 503A, which means it's FDA approved. It gets made for you based on your weight, your height, your medical information. And then it gets shipped directly to the door, to your door. It makes it easy and accessible for you. And then that's where we pop back in and we're there to help you and guide you as you're going through it. But you still have access to the complete medical team that you can access through your patient portal anytime with any questions. So, Dr. Tatiana, thank you for having me on.
Oh, I so appreciate it. Thank you, Blair. And what a powerful story. I just love how, you've journeyed through that. And, there are so many conditions that people are dealing with nowadays. And I've been so impressed with the stories that I'm learning and hearing from others and their journeys with the various peptides on how they've helped them. Like, we don't want to provide any medical advice at this moment here in this Zoom, but from a longevity perspective and just an anti-aging perspective and helping the body just work better. It's incredible to see from A to Z and all the conditions in between that there seems to be something for someone. And even if you're just wanting to optimize your health and vitality, hopefully there's not too many conditions going on and you're relatively healthy, you just want to be healthier, that's possible as well, to do that. You know, as we age, we deplete ourselves, you know, things like, you know, NAD depletes, glutathione is necessary for that, right? So it's important that we are replenishing these needed peptides in our systems so that we can continue to function and do the best we can. It's all about cellular health and well-being and taking it to the next level. So I greatly appreciate everyone being here this evening. Should we take a couple of questions, Blair, or do you want to?
Yes, I'm going to stop the recording just so people can ask personal questions.